Hi, I'm Terry Cooke. You're watching Hamilton's Vital Signs. Welcome back. Vital Signs is a program produced by Cable 14 but delivered by the Community Foundation, and it's all about things that are happening in Hamilton. We like to talk about things that engage citizens, allow them to make a contribution, and that affect the future of the place. Today's what I hope will be a really interesting show. You will remember that in 2015 and 2016, what was dominating the news was a humanitarian crisis in Syria and a decision by the government of Canada to accept initially 25,000, but then ultimately 40,000 Syrian refugees to come to this country. And a significant number of them landed in Hamilton and in the surrounding area. We at the Community Foundation were the stewards of something called the Welcome Fund, which assisted Syrian refugees with housing and early supports to get them settled. But there were many, many Hamiltonians, particularly faith groups, that got together to provide private sponsorship to assist in that transition and specifically to sponsor individual refugee families to come here. We're 3 to 4 years later, and today is an opportunity really to check in on how this process has gone for newcomers to this community, but specifically for Syrian refugees. And I'm really pleased to welcome to the show 3 people who know a lot about the settlement, immigration, and refugee process, and to hear some first-person stories. So I'm going to attempt to not mess up the names because we practiced, and all of you are nervous, but we're going to get through this. Okay. Wael Ghali from the Immigrants Working Centre. You're a vice principal of the school there, and you assist in the programming of refugees and immigrants who come here. Saher Emmun, who is a Syrian refugee who has landed here and now found employment at the StressCrete Group of companies, and we're going to talk a little bit about your work, and Eman Ismail-Elmasri, who runs the LINC program, the WorkLink program at the Immigrant Workers Centre. So I've only messed up a couple of those things so far, but welcome to all of you.
Thank you.
What I'd like to do, Wael, is to start with you and Eman, to talk a little bit about the work that you do. But I want to inform that with a little bit of your own stories, because you too chose Canada as people who immigrated here some time ago, and that experience certainly has to inform the work that you do. So I'm going to start with you. Tell us a bit about your story.
Okay, so I am an immigrant, and I immigrated 22 years ago. I know how Syrians and immigrants and newcomers feel about the challenges and settling in any new country. So, and I think that was a big thing for me to decide on what role that I want to take to help immigrants and newcomers. My field was totally different, but in the community. Yep. So I decided to work as a community worker and employment counselor. So right now I'm working as an employment counselor and WorkLink coordinator. Basically, WorkLink is a very unique program that was initiated 4 years ago by a fantastic team from IWC, and it was mainly to support the Syrian refugees. It's a one of a kind, at least for me, and this is what I believe. So WorkLink was designed to integrate the real Canadian work experience with the language of the industry, as well as certification. So we added global WMS, health and safety, the 4 steps, working at heights, and also workplace orientation. So, for example, soft skills, right and responsibility at work, communication at work, interview preparation, and finding jobs. So when a client comes to IWC, we assess the client, we focus on the needs and see what kind of profession they're looking for. If we have a 4 portfolio that we work on, so if they're STEM, science, technology, engineer, or math, or if they're more sales and service, or business and finance, or manufacturing and construction, then our employments will be working on that part. The other part, if they are more focused on the level of English or to upgrade their level of English, then they will join the LINC classes where my colleague Wael will talk more about it.
Yep.
And if they're ready to work, this is where the talented team of employment team will work on helping, working with and accompany the clients to find a job. If they're more focused on upgrading their work experience, this is where I come, where I work closely with the clients to upgrade their work experience. So they attended the WorkLink preparation program, where they will have the language of the industry, where they will have the certifications, and connect them with the training centers to upgrade their work experience to Canadian standard. And this is where we all miss when we came. So Canadian standard here in Canada. And we partnership with great training centers around in Hamilton, Halton, and Peel region. So that's one part of my work as a WorkLink, to really connect these newcomers or the new Canadians to their next step or next phase in their life. The other thing that is really interesting and I really proud of is that also I never heard when I came 22 years ago to how to really certify or get a license, not at least for me, but other immigrants, how to get their license just by doing a challenge test. So I am also, my role is I'm liaison between IWC clients and Ontario College of Trades.
Got it.
Ontario College of Trades is an institution where the process to provide license for skilled trade in Ontario.
So they can work.
Exactly. Yeah. So Canadian comes, or Neo Canadian comes with this vast experience in their trades. And of course, they can't work because they need a license.
Yeah.
So I started, I think, almost 2 years ago on that, with over 30 clients right now, only with Ontario College of Trade, where I worked with the talented, experienced clients. And I think there are over half of my clients are Syrians, with electricians, plumbers, hairstylists, auto mechanic, industrial painter, and many more. Like, it's just to see this individuals with their experience coming here, getting the challenge test, and
which is amazing.
It's just incredible, and to see the outcome too.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Great start. And it's not lost on me as a longtime Canadian that when you think about the prosperity in the greater Toronto and Hamilton area, that has grown incredibly, and where now in the GTA, over half of the people who are citizens here were not born here. And so much of the economic vitality, in fact, has been driven by people who have chosen Canada and chosen this area to land and try to create a better future for their families. Well, same question to you. Tell us a little about your own story and then about the work that you do.
So I came to Canada in 2007 with my family, and we chose Canada because we knew about the education system. My kids were 7 years old and 12 at that time.
Coming from where?
From Egypt.
Yep.
Yeah, and I came with an extensive teaching experience. Actually, I was teaching in many countries, and I had lots of teaching certifications from Cambridge, from Boston, and I was teaching in Japan, like many things. And then I came here, I got certified by the Ontario College of Teachers and TESOL Ontario. And in spite of all this, it was very hard for me to adapt. It took me years and years to adapt and to start feeling that Canada is home. Yeah. I started working in the Immigrants Working Centre in 2007, and in 2011, and I work as a LINC instructor, and LINC is Language Instruction for Newcomers. Yep. It's an ESL program, basically. And I'm also the vice principal of IWC Academy. IWC Academy is a high school, and it's a branch of the Immigrants Working Centre. I run 2 language classes. One is called Intensive Communication for Work and Academic and Business English. These are 2 classes that have employment focus, like many other classes in the Immigrants Working Centre. The aim of these classes is to improve the language skills and to equip learners with the skills and knowledge needed for the Canadian workplace. Yeah. For those learners who wish to pursue a college or university education, here comes the role of IWC Academy, where we can offer them high school credits towards university and college, basically in two subject areas, career studies and English, grades 9 to 12.
Yeah.
And I would like to highlight that the high school credits are not done in separation of the ESL classes. They are all integrated in one class. So the newcomer would come into class, learn the language, gain knowledge, and earn high school credits all in one.
Yeah.
And I would confidently say that maybe we are one of the few organizations in Ontario who adopt such an approach, if not the only one.
That's amazing. So Saher, you are a Syrian refugee who came here about 3 years ago, and you've now landed work at StressCrete,
Yes.
Which is a great local company. Can you tell us about your experience in coming to Hamilton and what that was like for your family?
When I arrived in Hamilton 2016, the weather was very cold. It was minus 25.
Wow.
And I wondered how it feel if it is minus 25. Yeah.
If it was minus 25 all the time. Yeah.
But in my country, minus 4, everything is closed.
Yeah.
When I got out of the airport, I feel I am frozen.
Yeah.
And I am happy, excited for a new home. But at the same time, I am nervous about everything new.
Yeah.
New language, a new culture, a new system, and a new weather.
Yeah.
Until I met a Canadian lady. She helped my family to know how to live in Hamilton, in Canada.
Yeah.
Right now, for everything we ask for her advice to me, because for a year I don't know anything here in Canada.
Yeah. What was her name?
Lana Elmas. Lana Elmas.
That's a great story.
Yeah.
So we have to take a short commercial break. But Wael and Saher and Eman, I really appreciate your sharing your experience around the refugee and immigrant experience in Hamilton. When we return, we're going to talk a little bit more about the journey that you assist with and about the experience that you have had in making Hamilton your home. I'm Terry Cooke. You're watching Hamilton's Vital Signs. We'll be right back after this commercial break.
After a night out with your friends, not having a plan for a safe ride home can leave you in a bad spot. You could end up riding in a police car, an ambulance, or a hearse. These unplanned modes of transportation can be a costly choice and do not take you home. Your plan could include a designated driver, a taxi, or public transit. Drink responsibly, choose your ride, and have a plan for a safe ride home.
Visit arrivealive.org to find out more.
The East Hamilton Food Centre is proud to be a part of the emergency food system, providing Christmas and emergency food supports for people in need over the holiday season. In 2019, the East Hamilton Food Bank opened its doors in response to the growing need in the Davis Creek and Riverdale communities. A dedicated group of volunteers worked tirelessly to ensure that individuals experiencing hunger had access to an emergency food program. Located at the corner of Quigley and Greenhill, the East Hamilton Food Bank is addressing gap in hunger relief programs in both East Hamilton and Stony Creek. The East Hamilton Food Centre will continue to support everyone in need in food supports throughout the month of December, ensuring food on the tables of every household this holiday season. Operating under the umbrella of Mission Services, the East Hamilton Food Centre is committed to addressing hunger in our community, and we encourage all of you to support us in our efforts. Every food and fund donation helps.
Hi, I'm Greg Lenko, host of Hammer Happenings here on Cable 14 in Hamilton. Every Monday, we have a brand new show filled of fun and exciting guests. Watch it weekly or on demand on cable14.com. And if you have an event coming up that you would like televised, let us know. Go to cable14.com/request-access. And remember to join me every week for some exciting events in Hamilton and new socks.
And we're back. I'm Terry Cooke, CEO of the Hamilton Community Foundation. We're talking about the Syrian refugee experience in Hamilton with Wael, who works at the Immigrant Workers Centre, and Eman, who also assists with the WorkLINC program, runs the WorkLINC program at the Immigrant Workers Centre, and with Saher, who is a Syrian refugee and who has had a remarkable journey and is now landed full-time employment, which we should say that a vast majority of Syrian refugees are now employed and contributing in different ways to our community, and that too is a remarkable story about Canada and about the perseverance of people coming here from a distant place to escape a terrible humanitarian crisis. Exactly. So my question to you, Saher, is it's been almost 4 years for you. Your family are now settled, you have housing, and you're working. Tell us about Hamilton and whether or not it feels like home at this point, because you have had some real challenges in getting to this point. You left a place not because you wanted to, but because it was the only way to have safety and a decent life for your family. So talk to us about how you're feeling today.
I start with first year. It's very busy for me to learn English, to improve my English.
Yeah.
So I went for a lot of school, ASL.
ESL.
And
yep.
yeah, and I registered for work intensive communication class in IWC.
Yep.
After 3 months hard work, I graduate and I got my first job in StressCrete Group.
Yep.
After 1 year working in StressCrete Group, I got a mortgage to buy my first own house in Hamilton.
Yep. So let me just stop and say again, nobody really likes a mortgage because it means you're in debt, but that too is a significant signal about permanence and about you making an economic commitment to this community. Taking a mortgage and buying a home is pretty remarkable.
Yeah.
A couple of years after arriving as a refugee.
Yeah. And now I not feel just this my home. I believe Canada is my home, not just for me, for my family, my children and my wife too.
Yeah.
We feel like we are reborn here in Canada.
Yeah.
That's why we feel all my family.
That makes me want to cry. What a great story. We're so fortunate to have you.
Amazing.
So, to the people who have taken your own lived experience as newcomers to Canada and used it to assist so many others, talk about the barriers that newcomers, both immigrants and refugees, face. Let's start with language, because, I mean, Saher's progress is remarkable, but landing in a strange country without language skills has got to be an enormous challenge. So talk about that, and then talk about the work that each of you do on different barriers that are faced by immigrants and refugees, and specifically by our Syrian refugees.
So I can see that I always face, or the client face, 3 challenges that we are trying to overcome. One is Canadian work experience. The term Canadian work experience. So the clients, the Syrian refugees, or all new Canadians, they come with vast experience from back home, trying to prove themselves, trying to show the skills and experience they had, but they always face the problem, Canadian experience.
Right.
What is Canadian experience?
Yeah.
If this amazing, talented individual with all these skills and just can't prove that. So we always face that problem, trying to work, and this is the part where WorkLINC comes, because it's a WorkLINC preparation program that's also Saher attended, to get the language and certification, to show the employer that we have done this, right? The other challenge is access to certification. Another challenge. Not all the The certifications are free, so it really costs a lot, and not all new Canadians can afford to pay the certifications.
Right. So there's a financial barrier, right?
Exactly,
Just
financial.
to enable you to
get to the next
pursue
step, exactly,
employment.
right?
Yep.
So from where, if they're new Canadians,
Yeah.
right? So we are trying to find a ways to get this fund, but of course not every nonprofit or not every organization will have that much
capacity.
Exactly,
Yeah.
to get the financial support. The other challenge that we face is also access to trainings. So getting the clients, work link preparation program, and then get them the training after the work link. So not all also the training can accept lower level of English.
Right.
There are certain level of English they need to get the training after the work link preparation program. Imagine yourself here, Terry, you know, writing from left to right.
Yeah.
Suddenly, you
gotta
have to
change,
write
go right to left. Oh, no,
right
I
to
know.
left, and programming your brain to read, write, listen, speak
Yeah.
in totally different language in no time.
Right.
Yes, Saher and others who are very educated and coming with degrees, but there are many, many other clients who they don't have the language. You know, they went to school but don't have the language. So coming here and adopting that quickly, how do you feel?
Yeah. Well, I would be overwhelmed.
Exactly,
and
right?
By comparison, I watch my kids who are fluent in French because they learned it, and at an early age, our brains are, frankly, more malleable. As we get older, it's a greater challenge. And
It is.
In my case, I would be overwhelmed.
But see the short time, and amazingly, see how they overcome that barriers, right?
Yep.
So, and this is where also IWC comes, where,
Yep.
you know, language, work link preparation program, certifications, workplace orientation, and get the individuals or, you know, Syrians, refugees, our new Canadians, getting them adapt to life in Canada and finding their employment.
Yep. Well, same question to you about the nature of your work and the barriers that you're helping refugees and immigrants to try and overcome.
Yeah, actually I'm glad that you asked this question, because I think that the language barrier is not only a communication barrier, it's an adaptation barrier.
Yeah.
It's a big blocking stone in the way of coping. So let's imagine a couple of newcomers from Syria came to Canada, and they are walking in the streets in Hamilton, and they cannot read the signs, and they cannot respond to small talk. They cannot take notes. So what does this feel like?
Isolating.
Exactly, complete isolation.
Yeah.
Another couple who came with extensive work experience, and they coming here to start a career in their own field, but unfortunately they can't find a job, not only because of the Canadian experience, but also because they simply cannot read the job posting, or they cannot comprehend the job posting.
Yeah.
They cannot write a resume, they cannot write a cover letter to send it to the employer. So again, this creates a feeling of isolation and total alienation. So that's why the language barrier, it leads to isolation and alienation, and by turn, this would turn into a feeling of helplessness. And this is again where the role of the Immigrants Working Centre start and begin. So they take the immigrant or the newcomer, and they walk step by step all the way from the moment they come into the organization till they reach their potential goal, by providing many services like settlement services, employment, and language services as well. So complete support for newcomers. And this is not done in bureaucratic procedures or complicated procedures. It's so easy. It's just 1, 2, 3, come in, meet a settlement counselor, set a plan, and take an action. It's as simple as that. And this assisted lots of newcomers, especially the ones from Syria, to adapt and to overcome also the language barrier. Another factor that I noticed is the very pleasant attitude of Hamiltonians and the compassion that they showed towards the newcomers. Even if they noticed that they cannot communicate well in English, they were so pleasant, and they supported them a lot. And again, this is another factor that assisted the newcomers to integrate and to feel that, oh, Hamilton and Canada is my home.
It's a welcoming place. That's so good to hear. Unfortunately, we are almost out of time, which is incredible. Saher, I want to put the last question to you, and you have made a remarkable journey. You are now a homeowner and a mortgage payer and an employee. Less than 3 years after arriving here from a terrible situation in your home country in Syria, if you had a lesson or advice for those who will come in the future from different points in the world and like you who will choose this community and this country, what advice would you give them?
I advise him to work hard. Maybe this way to thanks Canada to bring us here to save a nice country. You know what I mean, our country, the war and everything. And thank you, Canada.
Those are perfect words to end the show on and to celebrate a season in which we all give thanks. And on that note, Wael, Saher, and Eman, let me thank you for the work that you're doing, for the contributions that you're making, and for everything that you have done to make Hamilton and Canada a better place. We are better because of you, and I'm grateful for the time and the wisdom that you have shared with us today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Good
much.
to have you with us.
Thank you.
I'm Terry Cooke. You've been watching Hamilton's Vital Signs. What an inspiring way to end the season. Best of the holiday season. Blessings to all of you. We look forward to talking with you again in the new year. I'm Terry Cooke. This is Hamilton's Vital Signs. We're done for now. Take care.